This is like the most important Super Break of all time. We just want to stay focused and not get ahead of ourselves.
We know we can beat any team in the LCS right now.
Boy goes in. He gets locked up on the bound and taken down. They just snuffed out Counter Logic Gaming.
Super Week determines whether we're in relegation or we make it for playoffs.
Complexity has to win this one. There's no way they leave this space without the Nexus going down. Complexity goes 3-1 on Dignitas.
Super Week will basically decide whether we're first place.
Looking for a shutout. The Nexus in the eyes of Cloud9, and so is the win.
33 minutes to dismantle the #1 team in the North American LCS.
We could potentially be #1 after Super Week.
Oh my God! Double and flash. He's still getting taken down. Björnson coming out huge here.
Super Week is going to have to bring top intensity from every team.
Anything can really happen in this last week.
Welcome to the final week of the North American League Championship Series. We've got a super week of action coming your way live from our studio home in Los Angeles, California. It has been a historic split, with the competition in the North American LCS more fierce than anything we've seen before. It all comes down to this week. Teams will fight for a spot in the playoffs, for positioning, and to keep the dream of worlds alive. Hello, I'm James Dash Patterson, and joining me at the analyst desk are Joshua Jat-Leesman and Aiden Zyrene Moon. Are you guys ready for this weekend?
I'm pretty ready for this weekend. It is a lot of games, but by the end of it, we'll know all the playoff stats.
I can't wait. Now, so far this split, 4 teams have locked in a playoff berth, but that's about all we know. LMQ still holds first. Cloud9 and TSM are just 1 game back. Now, how do you see these top seeds playing out?
This is going to be so interesting, and it all depends on how affected LMQ is by their off-the-rift issues, right? Because I feel like TSM and Cloud9 are completely surging. We saw last week they both really destroyed, and it's LMQ's to lose in a sense. There's some big matchups, TSM versus Cloud9, TSM versus LMQ, that will show it, but it really has to do with how LMQ does.
Yeah, if they show up or not is a really big thing. They've lost Sharon, their coach. They lost 8 out of their 8 scrims this week. They also canceled their scrims because of a PR issue. This is a team that keeps coming in and saying, we practice for each team individually, and coming into a super week where there's twice as many teams that you normally face, there's a ton of pressure on them right now. And I actually want to swap over to TSM for a second. Lustboy. Bringing him in has been a huge acquisition for the team because he's cleared up their comms, and he's basically the silent Bob of the team. He's not going to whip out the English unless he has something important to say. So it frees up Bjergsen and Amazing to just make the calls and make them very quality over quantity.
Yeah, when Lustboy speaks, you know it's important.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Now, on the other side of the playoff picture, though, we have Curse and Dignitas, who are on the cusp of securing their spots, but Complexity and EG have shown they're not ready to be counted out just yet.
Yeah, the bottom of this, I actually don't think will have too much volatility unless Curse goes off this week and actually sneaks ahead of, actually would be CLG probably falling down with their subs this week. I don't necessarily think there's too great of a chance for Complexity to overtake Curse, but we're really going to decide that after our first game today.
Yeah, the Complexity versus Curse matchup's going to be very important coming into this. Right now, Complexity is 2-1 in that matchup, so there's a lot of pressure on them. If they can pull ahead, then they're 1 game back. They also face CLG with their kind of Ginyu Force coming in here. So while the other guys go in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. So the thing to watch for here is, can Complexity just whip out the blue shell again for the final time and put themselves in a playoff position? I don't know if it can happen because Curse has been innovating double AD carry.
All right, well, earlier in the week, though, CLG made a big announcement. Their entire team would be traveling to Korea with Seraph while he deals with visa issues and hitting the Rift for Korean boot camp. Now, they leave behind a motley crew of renegades and cult heroes to do their battling for them. It seems they've put their chances at a top 2 spot by the wayside. So is this gamble going to pay off?
I honestly don't know, but we were actually watching as the casters chasing the cup before we got here, and it really displays some of the big inner turmoil CLG was going through. They're 0-4 in their last 2 weeks. Things were not going well, and they were losing Seraph for visa issues this week regardless. So it's a big gamble for them to just completely uproot their team away from the LCS. You want to practice against better competition. Well, they were losing against the competition in the North American LCS as well. So it is a huge risk for them to go over here. But I do think it was a smart choice under the circumstances because they get to stay together and they get the much-needed mediation of another person to talk about their team issues.
Yeah, big thing about that is it's the best of a difficult situation. And we were talking about watching Chasing the Cup. That interaction there, the morale was very low, tensions were very high. You need a coach to come in and facilitate those interactions, be a moderator there. So I think they're going to get a huge dose of that from Monty with that hands-on coaching in Korea.
All right, yeah, a lot of volatility within that team. Hopefully they can get it sorted out. Speaking of volatility, there were plenty of fireworks in the European LCS's final week. And here are a few of the huge moments that you guys were a Twitter about with the LCS big plays. First tweet comes from Gambit versus Copenhagen Wolves. At lol, Kuroyuki writes, wow, rocket jump into Tristana Ultimate is not enough to stop Eddie hooking like a boss. Well played, Edward. Roll that number 3.
Well, it's going to have to run from this one. He's going to jump away. That's it. Lands with it. Nicely done. Ultimate available. Exhaust goes down. Genji catches on towards him. He takes the lantern.
Oh, that was such a nice setup here by Edward. He was actually shot away by Woolite, but still just connected the hook.
I mean, the main thing about that was it just looked really damn cool.
He was a screen away. It was ridiculous. So far, that match meant a whole lot, too, because it's a tiebreaker.
Yeah, the poor observers were probably like, who do we go to? Anyway, then Fnatic Scumbag Support gets some attention from the game against Roccat. At Alex76551462. That is a ridiculous amount of numbers. Beautiful Soul Shackle from Yellow Star and a triple kill stealing Reckless's record, completely destroying Roccat. Here's your number 2.
Can they dive into it? Reckless now has got to the halfway point of the map. Can they get it? They can! Fnatic steal the Baron. It's Yellow Star that gets that one. His ulti's running in the pit, and this is going to be a whitewash. Reckless coming in. That's 1 kill. That's 3 kills for Yellow Star.
They melted Rocket.
Yellow Star gets himself the triple, though. It leaves Reckless with 11 kills, a Baron, and an ace for Fnatic. Nice.
3 kills, man. 3 kills.
After that triple kill steal, I'm sure that Yellow Star was his second favorite support from Reckless there.
Yeah, to be fair, he was only kind of half a support that game. He built the Death Cap and a Zonya's in that one, so he was pretty much another carry.
Hey, kill secured.
Yeah.
All right, and finally, from Super Hot Crew versus Millennium at 131202. What's going on?
A lot of numbers, man.
What's going on? 2020. That Gragas ult into Yasuo ult at Baron brought a tear to my eye. Go Super Hot Crew. The Wombo combo is your number 1.
This is surely all or nothing. The knockup doesn't quite land on Cocoon does, but there is the Baron picked up, stolen away by the Super Hot Crew, and that was amazing from Impaler, and now they just turn on to Millennium.
Impaler gets Baron. There was a 3, maybe 4-man knockup and last breath there from Selfie. Fantastic fight.
That was probably the worst possible thing Millennium could have been doing at that moment, but it was still a pretty awesome big play with the Gragas ult into Yasuo.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's illegal in like 20 different countries.
Yeah, just spamming that R key, though. You gotta imagine his finger was hurting a little bit after hitting it that many times. All right, now remember to hop on Twitter and share your favorite plays and accompanying message to us at LOL Esports and use the hashtag LCS Big Plays. Pulling up the European playoff bracket, though, we've got Alliance taking the first seed with Fnatic taking second.
Yeah, and in the 3 spot, it's actually Super Hot Crew who will face off against the 6th seed Roccat in a best of 5, and then SK Gaming is in 4th. They will battle Millennium, who holds the 5th seed.
Then we'll be kicking off. They will be kicking off their playoffs on Thursday, August 8th. But back here in the States, LMQ holds first place, followed by Cloud9 and TSM tied for second, and CLG in 4th.
And then it's Dignitas is sitting in 5th with Curse 2 games back in 6th. Then Complexity and Evil Geniuses hold the bottom spots.
Now, closing out our summer split in style, we've got a super week of action coming your way, starting with Curse versus Complexity.
And then Cloud9 will battle out against Evil Geniuses, followed by LMQ versus TSM in a huge match.
And after that, Complexity will square off against Cloud9, and we'll conclude our day with CLG versus Dignitas. But stick around after for our Challenger Series coverage as Team LOLPro battles Team 8 for 3rd place.
That's the schedule, but we're looking to you to tell us who's going to win. So head over to lolesports.com, click Week 11, and start voting.
Also, there you can find all the stats, box scores, VODs, and recaps for your favorite teams and pros, not just from North America, but from the international leagues as well.
Or if you're in the market for a spot in our studio audience, we've got you covered. Just click on tickets for all the details on how you can cheer your favorite teams on in the quarterfinals.
With so much on the line, let's break down a few of the players that will be watching this week.
Yeah, first guy we got to break down is Bjergsen. Last week, all eyes were on TSM's new support, Lustboy, but it was the rest of the team that really stepped up big. And Bjergsen turned in his best performance of the split. For TSM to make a run, he has to do it again.
Yeah, then it's LMQ shot caller, No Name. The team are coming off a tough loss to Cloud9 and only have a 1-game hold on first place. They'll be depending on their jungler to rebound and lead them this week, and they definitely need it considering all the issues surrounding them and their picks last week.
We'll have to watch that one. Next is Hai, who had that huge game on Yasuo in the dismantling of LMQ last week. But he needs to have another pick up his sleeve because odds are teams will not risk letting him have Yasuo again.
Yeah, and from Evil Geniuses, we'll be watching Crepo, who was playing out of his mind against Curse last week, landing hook after hook and keeps playing their shots and keeping them alive for the playoffs.
Hey, it's going to be tough for them, but they still have a chance. Finally, it's CLG, the whole team. They need just one of their 4 games to be a victory this week to avoid falling into 6th. It falls to this ragtag team of misfits to step it up and make it happen.
1-3 the dream.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now we want to throw you a question. Today we're asking, what is your favorite moment from this NALCS summer split? Be honest.
Write us at LOL Esports and use the hashtag LCS so we can read a few of your answers later in the show.
Now we're going to take a quick break while we plug in the inhibitors for our first match of the day, Curse versus Complexity. We'll be right back.